What's going on YouTube? Yamaha here. Welcome to the channel. And today we're working on the 2021 MT09 that's parked behind me. So here's the deal. For some reason, I thought that the first oil change was at 1,000 miles and it's actually at 600. So give or take, I'm about 400 miles past due, but no sweat. We're gonna take care of that right now. We got the new oil, we got the new filter, we got a hammer, a screwdriver, 17mm socket, and that's all you need. So check it out, enjoy, and let's go.
Hey YouTube, if any of this content interests you, do me a huge favor. Don't forget to hit the like button. If you want, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification to be notified of all new uploads. Alright guys, first thing you're going to do is grab your ratchet and break that bolt. It is tight, man, so be careful you don't hit your engine. Slide that pan in place, and if your oil pan has got a catcher like mine, don't worry too much about it, but if not, do not lose the bolt or the washer. Super sensitive for the install later. Go ahead and just let it drain all the way, and you should be good to go. So now I'm going to stand the bike up center. I didn't have a stand available because it was on my R3, but I'm just doing this to basically drain as much oil as I can into the pan before I do a trick that I'm going to show you guys in a second. But make sure you put your screw on before you go to the next step, which I'm fixing to show you now. Now one thing you can do is just get a 2x4 and stick it behind the bike, and what I do is I roll the tire on top of that piece of wood, and what that's going to do is lift up the bike a few more inches up in the air, and it's going to help push out that oil towards the front. Once I get it pretty much where I want it and I put the kickstand back down, I'm going to go ahead and go back and I'm going to take that bolt out and I'm going to let all the oil drain out, this time to completion. Once it's done draining, go ahead and put your washer and bolt back in place, tighten it up to spec, and go ahead and wipe down all the excess oil off the engine casing. Once you turn on the bike, it'll start to burn and smell, and it could stain it. So to avoid that, go ahead and give it a good wipe down. Once you're done with that, you're going to have to remove this filter. Now, I don't have the tool, and sometimes I get lucky and I could just take it off with my hand. But in this case, I had to use these big plumber pliers. We all have those, right? So go ahead and try that. If not, like this happened, it popped a hole in it. I usually have been doing this in the past. I just get a hammer and a screwdriver. Now, in this case, you want to stay towards the front of the filter because there is a screw that pops out into the filter that it attaches to. You'll see it once I remove it. But just go ahead and hammer a screwdriver on the front of the filter all the way through, if you have to, unless you have the tool. And once you go all the way through, you can just barely push it forward, and you're going to see, as in this video, it just loosened up a little bit. Now once it loosens up, I could then just get those plumber pliers and go ahead and just carefully start squeezing and removing the filter. Once you break it loose, it's not really a big deal because you can just use your hand and just twist it off the rest of the way. Go ahead and let it drain and you're good to go. Go ahead and get your new filter, and on the rubber gasket that comes with it, put some oil on it, as you see me doing here, just so it seats better onto the engine casing. Thread it on as best as possible with your hand, and then on this K&N filter it actually has the socket adapter for the 17mm ratchet. Go ahead and tighten it up to spec, and there you are, totally complete. Once you're all tightened up, go ahead and get your chamois or your rag and wipe down the filter and all the surrounding areas. Like I said earlier, man, when your engine gets really hot, it starts to burn and it could stain stuff, so just to avoid that, I just wipe it all down and make sure that it's good to go. Go ahead and remove your oil cap. Should come off pretty easy. If not, you may have to just apply a little pressure. And once that comes off completely, just go ahead and get a long funnel. On this new MT09, the engine casing on the side is pretty big, so my funnel wasn't working, so I just ran down to AutoZone, picked up this new funnel. It's like $3, and it worked out pretty well. Okay guys, we're on the home stretch. We're going to pour just about 3 quarts of oil into the motorcycle. So that's usually where I go. Be careful not to spill any. Pour it in the funnel. go ahead and remove that funnel. Don't spill any. I'm really OCD, so I hate spilling oil on the floor. Put your oil cap back on, and then what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the motorcycle for a little bit. We're going to get that oil filter full of oil. We're going to get that engine cycled so that way all the oil can get displaced all over in the engine. Then after we run it for probably about 2 to 3 minutes, usually is what I do, I go ahead and listen for the engine as well, make sure it doesn't sound funny or anything like that. Go ahead and shut it off. Check your oil level. You'll see there that the oil is pretty much sucked down. Pour a little more as needed until it's at the proper level. And after that, you've pretty much done your first oil change. It's pretty simple. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, comments, or observations, go ahead and let me know.